Welcome back to Bleav in Colts. Thanks for showing. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my guy, Jerraud Powers. We have a day late because obviously we were all busy honoring fallen veterans in our own way for Memorial Day. Jerraud, how was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Was actually up in CNC for another basketball tournament. I know every episode is like you're at a basketball tournament every damn weekend. But yeah, we had to go to CNC, a big time tournament. Had a lot of fun. Had a chance to meet Rajon Rondo and a couple guys. So it was fun for the kids and everything. But glad to be back home. It was a long drive, big road trip, but glad to be back. How about yourself?
Oh, I had to deal with personal issues, financial stuff that everybody deals with on a daily basis, weekly basis, whatnot. But the weekend itself, on a personal level, wasn't too bad. It was nice. Didn't get too hot, didn't get too cold. Today's supposed to be upwards around 90 and very humid, though, here in Indiana. So I don't know about how comfortable I'll be going outside to mow the yard or something. Uh,
It was hot yesterday here. Yeah, I about passed out outside when we got back home. I had to train some DBs late last night. Well, not late last night. It was around about 4 or 5 o'clock, and it was scorching hot. I thought I was gonna throw up and everything. It was
wow, and you're
that
and you're
humidity.
training them.
Yeah, I'm training them, and I'm sitting here like, man, I'm about to pass out.
Wow, wow, and okay, well, that says a lot when you live in the area. And it gets so hot that you're not even the one doing all the work, and you're like, I don't know if I can handle this or not. um, well, just want to say, guys, don't forget that our partners at Bet Online continue to be the number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, including updated odds on the NBA and NHL playoffs, Major League Baseball fights, and even next season's NFL futures. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's super easy to get started, so head over to the website today or use your mobile device to join and use our promo code Bleav, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Speaking of NBA playoffs, what'd you think about the ending of the Miami Seas game?
Man, I thought it was great. Game seven with it going down to the wire like it did. I mean, it just lets you know when the playoffs start in professional sports. Like even when you're talking baseball, when the playoffs start, football, when the playoffs start, man, it's just a different style of the game. I mean, you really see how good those guys are, how they compete, how they play the game the right way. So it was cool to see. And for Boston to make it to the finals with the young boys and Tatum and Brown, I'm excited to see how long can they hold on to the East for these next few years because they're young, they're up and coming, and they're the next new superstars of the NBA. So it's kind of fun to see them kind of find a way to get over that hump, win a big game on the road. Jimmy Butler had a big time 3 opportunity to win the game, just didn't fall his way. But I thought it was a great game 7.
Yeah. You got a prediction for the Celtics Warriors?
Man, as much as I want to say that the Celtics can handle the Warriors, man, I think with the Warriors being healthy now and Clay being back his old self, Steph, obviously everybody know what he's doing, and Draymond and Poole and those guys. I just think they're going to be too much to handle. But the Celtics are the number one defensive team in the league. So I do think that they, it'll be a good competitive game. If it can go another 7 games, I'll be happy. But I just want to see a good series. I hope it don't go, 4 and out. But if it can get to a game 7, I'll be happy to see it. But I do think the Warriors is just going to be too much for them at the end of the day.
I agree with you that the Celtics are a young team and that the future is bright for them. But I just, man, I look at this and I'm like, man, I think the Warriors win in 5. So,
Yeah, man,
you know,
yeah, definitely could happen for sure.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm hoping they go 7, but The Warriors are the Warriors, man. It's the reason why, they still are in a dynasty type era for them. So it's just kind of crazy to see.
Well, this is about believing Colts, not believing the NBA. But hey, you know what? A lot of us enjoy multiple sports, so that was fun having a quick discussion about the NBA playoffs. Well, let's dive into the Indianapolis Colts and specifically some news that dropped last week where Kenny Moore shows up to OTAs but does not practice with the team. And it is said that Kenny is not happy with his current contract situation and wants to get that taken care of. Jerraud, what are you're a former cornerback. You know what Kenny's going through right now. What are your thoughts on this situation?
Well, like we was talking about earlier, Kenny does have a couple more years on his deal, but he has outplayed his deal. So I do think that he believes, this is his opportunity to kind of cash in and get some more money, because as an NFL player, everybody knows you can't play this game forever. You got to make as much as you can make when those opportunities come. I know everybody want to, think, team's sake, but if some was to happen to Kenny tomorrow, with an injury or anything like that, the Colts will literally move on, and Kenny will be stuck dealing with the things that he has to deal with injuries or whatever the case may be. So I understand him wanting a new deal, wanting to cash in, especially when you've outplayed your deal. But at that same token, I know reports are saying that he's unhappy and all those type things. If a guy's unhappy, I don't think a guy shows up to voluntary workouts and stand on the sideline and support and help be around the guys and all that. I think he might be dealing with something, or maybe, had some type of injury from last season that he might be recovering from, or it might be something, because like I said, it's just not a normal thing for an unhappy guy to show up and go through the day-to-day activities with the team. You just can't walk in practice and just stand on the sideline and just say you're angry and not going to do anything. That's not how it goes, in the NFL world or the teams or whatnot. If a guy shows up in that building, normally he's happy with everything, especially in the offseason. So I think those reports might be a little screwed a little bit. But yeah, he might be upset a little bit, but not to the point to where he's not going to be a part of the team until he gets a new deal or anything like that. I think he probably went to the coach brass like, hey, I want an extension. I want to, talk some negotiation and whatnot. And I'm pretty sure there's constant dialogue with both sides. And I know the coach probably think that, yeah, he's outplayed his deal. Yeah, he deserves a new contract, but right now just might not be the window or the opportunity to get that done. But that's not to say you can't get it done training camp. You can't get it done within the season or anything like that. So I do think that those things will get worked out. But if Kenny was really upset, he wouldn't be at work right now during this time, because you literally don't have to be there if you don't want to be there.
So yeah, I'm it's OTAs. This is voluntary, right? We just talked about on the last episode where Franny and Mathis would show up for a week and miss the other two, Yep. So it's not, and the reports were that he not only showed up, he just didn't participate in team activities, right? That he was doing individuals, he was helping other guys out, stuff like that. He just didn't participate in the 7-on-7s that they were running on team activities. And I agree with you. That does not sound like a disgruntled, upset, I'm sitting out type player. That doesn't scream that to me at all. But at the same time, I get what you're saying, man. This is a guy who, yes, 3 years ago was extended by the Colts. Ballard gave him the highest money that any nickel corner in the NFL has ever made. But that doesn't mean that it was, a lot, right? I mean, he averaged, I think, $8.33 million a year, after the big, roster bonus for that first year, which was a nice little sum.
Right.
This year, I think he makes a little over 6 million. Next year, I think he makes a little over 7, something like that. And he wants to get paid. I understand that. As a former player, as a cornerback, I'm curious. we talked about this might not be the right situation because other things are going on. Obviously, they don't have a lot of money right now due to all the other signings. You still got Quenton Nelson, who's on his 5th year. He's got to be extended this year.
And that might be the holdup.
Yeah, that could be. Now, I'm curious, as a former cornerback, is it possible to be able to add things to a current contract? Like, let's say some incentives, let's say, like, hey, you continue to play at the level that you're playing, you're going to get paid X amount of extra dollars on this contract, and then next year we promise to really get in and do something with an extension.
Well, when it comes to the trying to work something out and say, hey, if you do this or do that next year, we can do this. The only thing that's wrong with that that type of situation is, like we were talking about earlier, if something was to happen to Kenny within the season, all that is out the window.
Mm-hmm.
It's just clearly out the window. So from Kenny perspective, it's like I don't have time to wait. Even though I know what I can do on the field, I Bleav in myself. But if a freak injury happens, then all that money that I was promised, or all that money that y'all said y'all are going to pay me next year, that goes out the window because I'm injured or whatever the case may be. So he's looking at it like, no, I'm healthy right now. I've outplayed my deal. I was the highest paid nickel. Right now, I might be the 5th or 6th highest paid nickel. And that's literally why he wants more money. When you look at it and getting the numbers and you're comparing stats to the guys that's making 10, 11, 12 million dollars, and they're playing the same position you play, and you look at the stats and you're comparing, and you're like, I'm beyond all these guys, but I'm the 6th highest paid. That's the only reason why he's back at the table asking for more money, because his play hasn't diminished. He's actually gotten better since he's gotten paid. He's made more plays. He's made the Pro Bowl last year and did all those things. So I just think it's just one of those situations to where when you get done with the season and you measure everything up with everybody that's getting paid, you can't go from being the highest paid to now you're like I said, the 5th, 6th, 7th highest paid, and you're still the top guy in the league. So he just want to, get what he deserves, because every year the money goes up. Everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the first time this type of situation happened. You look at some of the safeties in the league, that was what was going on. Guys were like, man, I was the highest paid, in the league a few years ago. I need some more money. Stephon Gilmore actually went through that,
In New England.
in New England, where he was the highest paid for that 1 or 2 years. And then I want to say a couple guys got paid and he was looking like, hey, I just was an all pro again. I need some more money. So it's just part of the business. Like I said, I don't think it's any ill will or, anybody being mad. I'm pretty sure the Colts knew Kenny was going to come to the table again, and they knew that it was a chance that, this situation might happen. But like you said earlier, you don't go through individuals and do all these different things if you were so upset that you're not getting paid. So I just think it's just one of those situations to where it's like, hey man, I just outplayed my contract, let's just go on, restructure this thing and get a new one on the table. But you made a good point with Quentin Nelson. He's priority number one. He plays a position that's the most needed when you're talking about the offensive line. So I'm pretty sure the coach are thinking like, let us get Quentin done, and after we get done with Quentin, you're the main priority, at the end of the day. So I think Kenny Moe probably is at that point to where he's just trying to not do too much to where he might get injured or might do something to kind of stray that plan. So I'm pretty sure after Quentin Nelson get his money, Kenny Moore get his.
So that kind of makes sense where he's doing individual drills but not doing team drills because he doesn't want to, because they're doing team drills and it's reported at 100 max speeds, right?
Speed.
And full speed team drills, he could get hurt, and then that again, like you said, end up hurting his extension opportunity. Some reports came out that he changed his agent this season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, did what came first, chicken or egg? Was it he changed the agent and the agent's like, look, you need more money? Or was he like, I need more money, my agent's not getting it for me, I'm changing agent? I'm curious about that. Obviously I don't know,
Right.
you probably don't know, but I am curious in my own little mind up here, which came first in that situation.
Well, it might be one of those things because I've seen some guys go through this. You got to think Kenny Moore was an undrafted guy, and
Hmm.
normally undrafted guys got. I don't want to downplay any agents, but normally you're not with certain agencies just because you're an undrafted guy. You're basically taking anybody that will represent you, at the end of the day. So when Kenny Moore became the Kenny Mo that we know now, it might be one of those situations to where the agent that he had previously don't have any background that comes with dealing with these type of situations, and he thought that probably changing agency or getting an agent that's done this before or been through this type process before is a better situation for him than the agent that he had previously. So it might not be a situation to where he wanted more money. The agent was like, no, wait, or the agent saying we want more money, and Kenny's like, no, I'm good. Like it probably was just like, no, I need somebody that knows what they're doing with this situation because it's a unique one. I got 2 more years on my deal. I've outplayed my contract. I've got all these accolades. The agent that I had previously has never been through this before, never, restructured this or done that. So he probably just feel like, going with a different guy that's been there, done it before. He probably represents certain guys in the league, far as in the DB area or whatnot. So, and that could go wrong sometimes. I mean, I know some people that change agents and it kind of backfired on them a little bit. So you just never know how that go or the reasons when that was going into changing agents as well.
That's actually really great insight. I didn't think about that, that the situation that he was in is just something that the agent, probably hasn't had a lot of dealings with,
Mhm.
being that, you know, I mean, even heck, a lot of undrafted guys have family members as their agents, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just, that type of situation. But we touched on it quite a bit. Quenton Nelson, definitely he's going to be playing on his 5th-year option this year. It's a chunk of money, but he obviously needs to be signed long term. There is a little bit of a split among Colts fans out there where they're like, you do not pay a guard left tackle money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, but it's
Listen,
Quentin
this
Nelson isn't your average left guard,
that's what I'm saying. Quentin Nelson is a different breed. Like you don't let good linemen leave. You do not let you pay what you gotta pay. Whatever the market says that he deserves, he needs to get it and throw a little bit extra on top. I mean, we're talking about somebody that for sure can protect Matt Ryan. We let Quentin Nelson leave. We already got holes in other spots on the O line. Right now, he's the most important player that we basically got, up front, at least in my opinion. I mean, he's done what he's supposed to do. He's far and beyond, one of the best, O linemen in the game. And I just think it's one of those things. Normally, guys don't play on their 5th option. That's how I know a deal is going to come. Eventually, guys just don't play on that 5th option anyway because it saves the team money when you restructure. I mean, when you get a new deal, so you can put the money wherever you need to put it. Because, like you said, that 5th-year option is a lot of money, in that year or whatnot. So, all the Colts fans that saying you don't pay this, you don't pay that. Look, man, Chris Ballard knows exactly what he's doing. He keeps proving us wrong. Every time we question anything that Chris is doing, he proves us wrong. So I believe that Quentin Nelson is going to be one of the highest paid O linemen in the next month or whenever it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And everybody in Coach Nation just needs to be happy about it that we got a guy that will be locked up for another 5 years. And hopefully we can get some guys to join him and solidify that offensive line and get this thing going again. Because just a few years ago, we were saying the coach had the best offensive line in the league, bar none, just a few years ago. So if we let Quentin leave, if we let Quentin leave, that right there, we're already struggling a little bit in that area. So if we let him leave, we're going to struggle even more. I'm a fan of Quentin Nelson, and I think we need him for another 5 years for sure.
So I'm also going to push back where people are saying left guard is not a premium position. I understand that 10 years ago it was not, But in today's league, that 3-tech defensive tackle is a premium position in the NFL. You got guys like Simmons, you got guys like, Aaron Donald, you got guys like DeForest Buckner, you got these monsters out there. You do not want hitting your quarterback in the face. All
Who's
right.
gonna block him? Yeah. Who do y'all want to block him? If you don't want Quentin to block him, who you want to block Aaron Donald?
Right.
If Aaron Donald makes X amount of money, guards should make similar. That's why, we had a conversation about, DBs get paid a certain type of money, but wide receivers get paid a little bit more, it seems like I'm talking the premium guys.
Yeah.
I'm the type of guy, if Aaron Donald plays a 3 technique or whatnot, and he makes, let's just say, $40 million a year. I'm just throwing numbers out. He makes $40 million a year. Whoever blocking him, if he's premium, he should be making about the same thing. That's how I look at the whole situation. So if Aaron Donald is one of the best, one of the best guys to ever play the game, and y'all just want Joe Blow, that's going to make, X amount of money to come in and block him, but you just wanted him because Quenton Nelson was going to get paid too much. That sounds ridiculous. Y'all better pay Quentin all that he possibly wants, just so you know that you got somebody that can handle these beasts. That's on the other side of the ball.
Well, it's like, the Colts play the Titans twice a year. Jeffrey Simmons is no slouch. He is a top 5 defensive tackle in this league, right? You're playing him twice a year. You are not, and don't forget, we're talking about the guard, which is not just, protecting your quarterback against, that 3-tech. He's also the guy that is opening the lanes against those defensive tackles, right? For your running game. So it's a double hit. You have to pay these guys. If they are, like you said, at that premium position and they are producing at a premium level, you got to pay them premium money.
You got to. There's no other way around it. You just have to. You can't take average guys that, just make sense money-wise and think that they're supposed to handle Aaron Donald. You got to take guys that's just different, guys that's a different breed, just like Aaron Donald is, guys that you look at and just be like, man, this guy right here is a beast. I don't care what position he plays. We got to pay him, what the market says that he's owed.
Well, just a few years ago, it was shown that he was out there practicing in like training camp or something like that. And, he's sitting there, practicing against the defensive line. He gets mad, walks over to Chris Ballard during practice and says, "You want me to get better and us to be a great offensive line, but you give us this to practice against?" And then next thing you know, we end up having DeForest Buckner, on the team. So, first off, he's not just a guy on the field, but he's a guy who impacts, he has the respect of the entire team, from not just the players, but, all the way up to the coaches, the GMs. It's been reported, hey, he's walked right up to Frank Reich in the middle of a game and go, "Dude, we need to start running the ball." All right. And bam, Reich's like, "Okay." You need guys
the ball on the team. Yeah, you need guys like that. Jeff Saturday was like that. We need to run the ball. Like, he was very outspoken when he played. And you need guys like that. You need guys that when certain people speak up, everybody listens. Everybody tries to do what they say because the hard work and the things that they put into the game and what they bring to the team. So we definitely need guys like that on the team.
Absolutely, man. And you can't let guys like that slip. You let him walk out. Next thing you know, what? He's playing for
the Titans. That's
right.
What's gonna happen.
Right. My goodness. You want to play against Quenton Nelson twice a year, or maybe 3 times?
Derrick Henry back there, like, man, what? Please.
No, we don't need that. We got our own good combo. Keep it together, man.
Keep it together, man. Keep it together.
All right, so we got veteran wide receivers, still a pretty hot topic, right? With the NFL. I just saw reports that the Titans are interested in T.Y. Hilton today. So that's we just talked about. You really, right? It's like when Reggie Wayne went, and look, Reggie, I love you, but there was a lot of Colts fans that got hurt right here when you went to the Patriots. All right. If Ty goes to the Titans, that would be, a similar situation. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
Well, I understand it's a business, it's a job, you got to make money. You wanted to go get a ring because the Patriots, at that time were still on top of the league, but T.Y. Hilton's still out there. There's still quite a few veteran wide receivers that could possibly help the team. Now, we discussed that Ballard before we started this, that Ballard had an interview about a week and a half ago with another podcast, which made me very proud, because it was not a very well-known podcast. And he went on there and he hung out and answered questions and hung out with them. And that was really cool. But he basically said in the interview that he felt that Reggie Wayne's being the wide receiver coach was enough of a veteran presence, and that he wasn't actively looking for a veteran receiver right now because he liked where the youth of the team, he wanted to get them snaps and experience and things like that at the wide receiver position. You had an interesting take that really opened my eyes on that. Would you care sharing what you read into that as a former player?
So, yeah, I think right now he's trying to instill confidence in that room. He's trying to let that room know that he believes in every guy that's in that room right now. And then he has, the best wide receiver coach he could possibly get out there in Reggie Wayne, who's been through everything that these guys are going through and been in that same seat, in that same locker room, on that same field at Lucas Oil. So I think it's just one of those situations that he's really just trying to let those guys know in that room that he believes in them. But at that same time, it's a sense of urgency. Like, hey, you guys got to show me right now that you're ready for this load, because we're talking about a long year, and we're talking about a group of young receivers that haven't proved anything yet in the league just on what they can do. So it's a huge opportunity for those guys in the league, and it's a lot of pressure on Reggie a little bit just to make sure those guys are going to do what they're supposed to do, be where they're supposed to be, knowing the system, learning it fast, because this is not a window as far as we got time. We're trying to win right now. We don't have time. Matt Ryan is not in his 5th, 6th year. We're talking about a old Matt Ryan. We got a young running back, and we got a young core, at wide receiver. So I just think he's trying to build as much confidence in those guys as he can. But at that same token, I think he just got T.Y. in his back pocket right now, in case, if that's what he needs. So you got an important mini camp coming up soon where it's with all the veterans. It's the whole team. Everybody has to be at mini camp. That's the one mandatory thing that you do have to get to, or you'll get fined. So I think he's probably just trying to wait and see how those guys look. And then if those guys do what they're supposed to do in minicamp with the entire group going forward, he'll know exactly, we got to find a vet, or we're good with what we got. We just got to make sure these guys stay healthy and get the job done.
See, so there is two sides to being a patient GM, right? A patient GM, sometimes you end up with those other patient players, like what we saw this offseason, right? With a lot of the veterans that came on to the team, like the Gilmore, like the Matt Ryan, being patient really paid off. However, in a situation like this, are you not taking a chance that another team, like let's say the Titans, goes out and gets Ty, and then in training camp you're like, oh no, we need somebody, but man, he's not there no more.
Well, when I say he has T.Y. in his back pocket, if T.Y. was to go sign with the Titans or another team, which if somebody come offer T.Y. money and say you got a role or this is what we want you to do and it makes sense, you can't fault T.Y. for, going another route as well. But I'm sure T.Y. is not the only vet receiver that he has in mind. I'm sure Matt Ryan probably, and voiced a couple guys that he like, a couple guys that he's played with that know his style, know his system. And I'm not necessarily saying Julio. I'm just saying, Matt's played with a ton of receivers. Those
Mhm.
guys probably and all sat down and made a list of veteran guys that they know could come in and fit the system and do the things that they need them to do. The Ty situation just makes sense because he's been there. He's the guy that everybody's familiar with. He's a guy that's looked up to. Those guys in the room has been under Ty for at least 1 year, already. So it might be one of those situations that Ty is not the only vet that he has in mind. But I know I hurt a lot of the Colts fans if Ty were to go to Tennessee or another team. But we want to see Ty succeed no matter where he goes. He gave his heart and soul to the Colts nation and, all those things. But I'm pretty sure Chris got, plan A, plan B, plan C type thing when it comes to the vet that he might want to add to that room if he has to add one.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt that he's done his homework, right? He's got that list up there on that
No
wall,
question.
So if it breaks down, he, like you said, he's got plan Z2, right?
Right.
You may not like the Z2 plan, but
Yeah.
um currently what I'm just we're talking about veteran receivers. We're talking about the youth at wide receiver right now on the team. Um, Before we end up, ending this week's episode, is there a wide receiver that you think that's currently on this team that may have that breakout opportunity to where Reich and Ballard are like, see, I told you.
No, I think Pittman has the like the opportunity is right there. Like, hey, we're looking for that number one. Like, we drafted you for that. Like you were our top wide receiver. What was it last year in the draft? Like we're expecting you to blossom like now. You don't have no time to wait. Like, yeah, last year it was let's work him through. Let's see what he can do. Like now it's the opportunity is sitting on your lap. And I think that he's going to take advantage of it. I think we'll see Pittman come out here and do some things that and when I say do things, just how he carries himself, he's going to walk around and carry himself as if I'm the guy in this room. And all thing you got to do is catch it when it's thrown to you. Get open. Be that guy that Matt Ryan knows. Like when I throw it over there, he's going to get it. I mean, you got to think when Matt Ryan got Julio, he made Julio like he knew. Like early on, Julio wasn't the guy that was getting all the targets, and doing. I played against Julio when he was a rookie. But I think as time went on and he showed Matt Ryan, like, hey, I can be that number one guy. I can do this. I can do that. That's when we start saying, like, hey, it's a Matt Ryan, Julio connection type deal. And I think Michael Pittman has that opportunity sitting in front of him right now. The only thing he has to do is make the plays when his time's called.
Yeah, yeah, that's one. But you generally, I would say you need another guy, right? Pittman has a chance to become that number one. I mean, like you said, last year he took that step,
Mm-hmm.
but we need to see a bigger step this year. But you want more than one target in the passing game, right?
Oh yeah, of
How
course.
about the reports that Naheem Hines has been
Been used
doing?
like Patterson.
Yeah, well, he's been apparently in OTAs been taking snaps with the wide receiver group,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's
Yeah,
an interesting side.
no, I saw that. I saw somebody said that there's a chance he can be used in a role like Cordell Patterson was, where he can kind of be everywhere, wide receiver, running back, slot, and all those things. And that can be another piece that's added to that room too. That can be a thought in Chris's head too. Like, hey, we got a running back that we treat as a receiver as well. And then when you add Philip Lindsay, that's what I was talking about. Now you got three running backs that you can use in some different type situations that can catch the ball and do all those things, because we all know that those guys with the ball in their hands can do some special things. And if you put them in space at wide receiver, and now little DBs like myself have to tackle these big guys, in space, it can be a matchup problem. That's why Cordell Patterson is having the success that he's having. You line up at running back, and then the next play he's at wide receiver, and it's some type of mismatch situation. So I can definitely see that becoming, something that the Indy fans like once the season get going and they see how it's working.
All right, so we're going to end this by going back to a positive memory of yours. Let's see if we can't remember. There was a situation where the Indianapolis Colts had the Atlanta Falcons pinned back against their own goal line.
Slant route. Yeah, I jumped it.
And someone picked it off and went for 6 with it. We want to go back and tell us a little bit about that, what was going on through your mind and everything?
We had a horrible year that year. I tell you that. That was one of the games. I remember, we're playing Matt Ron and the Falcons, and they beat us pretty good. I had a good game, but they beat us pretty good. But we were backed up, me and Roddy White, 1-on-1, and I knew Matt, right before Matt got under center, he looked at Roddy. Like, it was one of those last second glances, like looking at it like, hey, like, I'm getting your attention type. So I knew what coverage we was in, and I knew that if the running back stepped away from my side on the snap of the ball, if he stepped away from me, I had a good chance there was a backside slant just off of watching film and the tendencies and all that. So I backed up another step and kind of baited Matt into it. And I took a step as if I was about to go deep, and I stopped, and he literally threw it like I didn't have to move. He threw it right to me, and I kind of slid and caught it. And got up and ran. That was actually my first pick 6. I think I had 3 career-wise, but that was my first one. I still got the ball hanging in my office now. So when y'all talk to Matt Ron, tell him I said I'm a huge fan. Huge fan.
All right, huge fan, because he gave you your first touchdown pass. That's awesome.
My first touchdown. Yep.
Well, I mean, he gave a touchdown pass to another former Colt. Those of you that have been following Bleav in Colts, DeQuell Jackson, he threw a pick 6 to him as well. So he's thrown touchdown passes to multiple Colts players in the past before he was even a Colt. All right. Hopefully he continues that streak as a Colt. That would be very, very nice. All right. I think that's going to end it for this episode of Bleav in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. Thanks so much for stopping, given about an hour. Well, not quite an hour, but still. Hopefully we'll have some more stuff coming up pretty soon, a little bit more breaking information to talk about, rather than just, talking about contract situations and stuff.
I think we'll have a lot to talk after minicamp. After minicamp, and we hear all what went down, minicamp and all that, I think we'll have a few things to discuss going into training camp.
All right. Well, thanks again for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, please smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share with your favorite social media. And if you're listening to this, don't forget to download and share it out on your social media, because you are the people that can help us get to other people and just get the information out. Thank you so much. This was Bleav in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Jerraud Powers. And as usual, go Colts.